maybe when I say the formula, you'll remember it. So in a right angle triangle only, this will only work for right angle triangle, the sum squares of the two legs, so these are the two sides that form the 90 degree, equals the square of the hypotenuse. So, to draw a triangle or a right angle triangle, you need two sides that form the 90 degree, right? We call these two sides the legs of the triangle, okay? And then if you add these two sides, if you join these two sides, this is called the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is the longest side in a triangle, and it's always the one across from the 90 degree. Okay? So when I'm naming my triangle, this side that's across from the 90 degree, no matter how my right angle triangle is, my right angle triangle is like this, right? This is your hypotenuse, because that's the one across from the 90 degree. If your right angle triangle is like this, where your right angle is right here, this is your hypotenuse. Okay? So your hypotenuse is the one that's across from the 90 degree. How do I know it's 90 degree? You'll see a square kind of corner. Okay? They tell you this is 90 degree. This is how they indicate the 90 degree. Now, the hypotenuse, we call it the letter C. And the two legs are called A and B. Doesn't matter which one is A, which one is B. One is A, the other one is B. Okay? But the important part is that only the hypotenuse is called C. Because the formula comes this way. If I add the square of each leg, it's going to equal to the square of the hypotenuse. Okay? So we say A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared, which is the hypotenuse. Do you remember it now? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That's called the Pythagorean theorem. Okay? So the leg square plus the leg square equals the hypotenuse square. Okay? Now you can use this formula to solve for any of the letters, right? But you have to be careful, because if I give you the hypotenuse and I give you the side B, how do you solve for side A? So you want to solve for side A. What do? Move B squared to the other side, and it becomes minus. This is where most of the students get stuck. They don't know that when I move this over to the other side, I'm going to have to do opposite operation. And the opposite operation of addition is subtraction. Now, what if you know A and C and you're looking for B? Right? Because this time I'm moving A squared over, so it's going to become a subtraction. Okay? Remember that, because this formula is going to give you something squared, right? At the end, how do you get rid of that square? What's the opposite of square?
I don't know if in English.
Yeah, square root. Square root. Yeah.
What is it?
Square root.
Square root, yeah.
Yeah. So, let's look at an example. Find the unknown values found to round to one decimal place. Okay, great. Okay, another thing that we need to learn here is, what's the sum of all the angles, the interior angles of a triangle? 180. 180, right? So all the angles inside a triangle, they're going to add up to 180. If you know 2, you can find a third, right? So, what's this angle here? 9. This is 90, this is 31. So what would this be? How can you find this? 180 minus 90 minus 31. So what do you get? 59. Do you guys know what this letter is?
I don't know.
Does anyone else know what this letter is? It's called letter theta. So it's a Greek letter. It's Theta. Okay, we usually use Greek letters for angles. Okay. Theta. Theta. I don't know, just like. All right. So angle theta is 59. Now the other thing that I need to find is side x. What side is that? Hypotenuse. Yeah. The hypotenuse. How do I know that this is the hypotenuse? Across the line. Okay, so I'm going to call it letter C because always the hypotenuse is C. The other two, A and B. So, because it's a right angle triangle, I know two sides. I'm looking for the third. I can use A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is 3. And B is 5. 3 squared is 9 plus 25 equals C squared. I'm just going to bring it up here. 9 plus 25, that's 34. Are we okay up to this point? Is this my side C? What do I need to do to find side C? Square root. Okay? Because this is C squared, the opposite operation of square, so whenever I want to get rid of a square, I have to square root. Okay? They cancel each other. Okay? So square root. Okay? Square root of 34, that's going to give you a decimal. So what would that be? Square root of 5.8? Now because it says round to one decimal place, that's my one decimal place.
Sorry, how you get there from starting 40 to 5.8?
On the calculator.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's a button on your calculator that's the square root. You need to press. Okay. And what's the 5.8 what?
0.83.
0.83? Okay, let's do this one together, and then this way you can do the rest. All right, so again, this is a right angle triangle. This is angle 90. To find angle theta, you do the 180 minus 90 minus 59. So that's going to be 31. What do I know in this case? I know the hypotenuse, right? Which is, I call it letter what? What do we call this letter? C. And I know one leg. So let's say I know A, right? And I'm looking for B. So, what formula do you use?
B squared
Mm-hmm.
C squared minus F squared.
Remember that if I'm looking for B squared, right? Remember what I said. If you're keeping B squared here, you want to isolate for it, you're going to move the A squared to the other side, and that becomes C squared minus A squared. So you're going to have to use that formula. So that's going to be 7 squared minus 6 squared. 49. Take away 36. And that's going to be 3 squared equals, what is that, 15? Oh no, 17. No, 7. Wait. 50, 37. 17. What's 49 minus 36?
15.
I'm having problems. All right. 9 take away 6, that's 3. 4 take away 3, that's 1. All right. So B, this is B squared. To find B, you just have to square root both sides, right, to get rid of the square. So that's square root of 13, which is,
3.6.
what's after the 6?
0.
Okay. And then, because the units are centimeters, so you should put centimeter. Are we okay with that? We're good?